York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. It's time to talk about really tough loss to the Lakers because the Knicks lose to the Lakers 112 to 128. We're going to talk about it all. I mean, there were some bright spots. There was a triple-double by our guy Josh Hart. This is Achua showed up and showed out, but LeBron James matched it with his own triple-double. The Knicks could not quite stop the Lakers from hitting threes today. Like Lakers shot 47% from the three-point line, not known as a three-point shooting team, and hit out of 40 attempts at 19, and the Knicks go down to the Lakers. And it seems like the Knicks were kind of hung around for the most part. The game was within 7 to 8 points, but that fourth quarter, Knicks really let go of the rope. And we're going to talk about it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. Before I do that, I'm going to introduce you to the Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo. What's good, Lee?
What's going on, my brother? Not happy about this loss, but happy to be commiserating with you. Yeah, man, another really tough one. But to me, I put in the context that we were the hottest team in NBA going to this game, so it's not always woe. We lost to a team that's right now fifth in the West. Yes, so we're out Anthony Davis, but anytime you're playing LeBron James and he has some above average level talent, it's going to be a tough night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a tough fight with a guy like LeBron James. And to me, the Knicks started off kind of flat defensively. The start is kind of a stark difference to how we've been starting the games lately during our 5-game winning streak when defensively we were on a string. I felt like we were late to three-point closeouts to start the night. And we started to get our footing a little bit as the game came about, especially on LeBron. And I kind of feel like we still had a chance to win this game, even though we started off behind until OG Anunoby got hurt. And then I think the air was let out of the room, and the matchups, that matchup of OG and LeBron looked a lot worse when OG was off him because, OG was at least making him work, even if LeBron was hitting some tough shots. When OG was guarding him, it was a lot tougher. To me, when LeBron really started going when Shamet was on him, and the Knicks was kind of switching too liberally with Shamet on him. But when OG was on him, it was a little bit tougher. And also, OG was providing us the much needed 3-point shooting. He was probably one of the only people in the starting five who was able to eat after Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns were being doubled. So it was like a double punch to us on the offensive end and the defensive end when OG Anunoby, our best 3-point shooter in that first half and best defender against LeBron James, went down.
Man, I texted Jay when it happened that a injury, not this injury, but a injury felt at some point inevitable. Things just felt too good to be true that OG was going to go through the entire season without suffering an injury that would take him out of games. I was literally creating a prayer circle of incense and chamomile tea and other such nuances in my living room, hoping that OG Anunoby, the injury was not going to be serious. And it seems from the media report, I think Knicks PR now is aware of just how insane fans we are and how much it affects our daily happiness.
Listen.
They immediately went out, hey, this is a sprained foot. Don't worry, not an Achilles injury. I've heard from some doctors, as your typical Knicks fan on Twitter who follow the Knicks, were giving some various scenarios of just how bad the severity of it could be, and most of erring on the side that it's going to be maybe a week or two until he comes back. It got me thinking about how to handle this injury, how to mitigate from happening again, how long should he sit, and it also, I think, brings up a very good conversation about how this also inevitable Jericho Sims trade is going to dictate the roster shuffle and bring on an additional wing to help with the depth, especially now that OG and Anunoby's out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because with OG Anunoby out, it kind of forces Precious Achua to be a starter for us once again. Not quite OG Anunoby, but but he's going to give us some remnants of the defense he has, not without as much of the offensive talent. but with Precious Achiuwa now playing around 30 minutes a game, we're gonna need another wing to back him up while OG Anunoby sits out. And then when you're looking at our bench, it gets tough. We got Pacome Dadia, who's been fighting a toe injury in the G League. Jacob Toppin, who hasn't really cracked the rotation as of yet. And so it looks like the bench, who was already height deprived, gets a little bit shorter, which makes that need for a wing even more dire. And so, yeah, that's going to be something that the Knicks probably are going to have to address pretty soon before the trade deadline for surely.
Yep. And I think there are some options out there, luckily for us. And we've had reports, very substantial reports, verified by the brilliant Ian Bedley. Shout out to homie.
Yeah.
I believe it's his birthday today. Happy birthday to you, GOAT. He has substantiated that the Knicks have checked in on Chris Boucher from Toronto, which would actually take the Mitchell Robinson contract. It's more, he's making 10 million. So Sims would not be enough. But they've also checked in on Javonte Green in New Orleans, who's only 6'5" and brings some height issues there as well as an undersized wing. But the one that's my favorite is Yabusele. I'm not even gonna try, bro. The big dog from Phoenix, man. You know what I mean? French is not is not my forte. But yeah, the guy who played for the French national team, played Team USA really tough. I believe was on the Knicks summer league roster, or there was some connection there with the Knicks where they had a chance to sign him and they opted not to. You know, it's salary cap has to beget those type of decisions. But I think there's an opportunity there to make a trade with Philly. Now, Philly is definitely an arch rival, and we don't overpay if we did him. So it's going to be Sims and probably a handful of second round picks, or maybe a Kevin McCullough Jr. addition or something to that nature. Definitely, if it takes Tollwood or Dadiot, I'm out. But I do think that in the games I've watched, Yabusele has had opportunities here with Embiid out and Paul George out to hone his game and show what he's made for. And he's giving you like 10 points, 4 rebounds right now. He has more of an offensive bad than Precious Achiuwa around the rim. He's just as ferocious of a defender, capable of switching 3 through 5, maybe a little bit of 2 through 5 at the level when he's guarding pick and roll, but he's a good all-around team defender as well. So that's my number one target. He made just about the same as Jericho. That would probably take, as I said, a couple of second round overpay picks, but the options are there. And Leon, I think, has contingency plans for every situation. This OG injury is definitely, I think, going to shift the attention between him and Brock Howard to seek out a wing replacement.
Yeah, especially considering there has been news on Mitch. Ian kind of reported that Mitch Robinson is extremely close to contact. As of now, he's been only doing non-contact type of drills, running and jumping, and it's been said that he's been progressing really well, but contact is on the way. So we might see Mitchell Robinson really, really soon before the All-Star break. So cross your fingers on that. That'll definitely helps the depth chart as Precious is kind of thrusted it into the starting lineup moving forward. So yeah, definitely got to keep an eye on that.
I'll add one more thing too. Mitchell Robinson coming back, and we know how much of a slow ramp Mitch always takes to acclimate his body and conditioning to the NBA pace. But him at the 5 does move Precious permanently as the 4, which would then give him some minutes. He can also split at the 3. So he can kind of take on those primary big wing defensive assignments without having to also be the rim protector or the primary rebounder when they play small with Josh Hart next to him. I like that. That almost kind of solves a conundrum in and of itself. But you also have to account for, again, that ramp up period that always happens with Mitchell Robinson, where his timing is off. He starts committing a lot of fouls. He gets winded. He's like me going up the stairs, visibly winded, bro, when he's playing too many minutes back from that injury. So yeah, I hope that he's really in go mode when he comes back, because we're gonna need him, man.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna meet him. But yo, let's get to this game though. Let's start to break down this game. One thing I talked about, the defensive intensity and the lack thereof. It's been the stark difference between a 5-game winning streak and today. The 5-game winning streak, I felt like, especially our 3-point defense was on a string. We weren't lazy with the rotations. We were kind of closing out, and we were kind of helping the helper, and we had multiple efforts. Today, for the first quarter, for the first few minutes at least, I did not really see that. I don't think I've really seen the intensity the entire game, to be honest with you. Um, but I really felt like Carl Anthony Towns really had a tough time. And the defensive issues in general, if you're gonna have a pie of like the like what was happening defensively and why we're getting killed, I feel like it might have been like 70% Towns today. Um,
Agreed.
because well, one, the Lakers did not have Anthony Davis. And one of the things that the Knicks have been struggling with and Karl Anthony Towns have been struggling with is the inability to take the advantage over smaller players guarding him. Lakers were guarding him with smaller players and they were doubling him and we were able to score off the double teams. And on the flip side, the Lakers kind of able to spread us out. Karl Anthony Towns wasn't really used to hasn't been used to guarding the three consistently this season, and he had to be out there at the top of the key guarding three way more than he's used to the point where it really only took one pass from the Lakers and it was wide open for three. It took and it was gut wrenching to watch where they, especially when Dorian Finney-Smith was in the game, because marksman 3-point shooter stood there at the top of the key, had all the time in the world. Karl Anthony Towns didn't even attempt to close out. Forget drop coverage versus non-drop coverage. He didn't even put a hand up. He just kind of looked at him for like 3 or 4 straight plays in a row to the point where Tibbs calls timeout. He Cat finally starts to go to the 3-point line to guard him, and then it seems like after those 2 plays, when he went up to the 3-point line, he completely went away from it for the rest of the game. He's like, so like, I don't know if him being frustrated on offense was killing the defense, but it was rough to watch Karl Anthony Towns play basketball today.
100% agree with you that 70% of the blame is on Karl Anthony Towns on both sides of the ball. The defense didn't surprise me because without Davis, they really went smaller than usual. Jackson Hayes, I thought, was actually pretty productive in his minutes, but you also saw a lot of on offense them running Rui Hachimura at the 5. And when you had those type of roster conundrums, Karl Anthony Towns learned it could no matter who he switched on. And he was purposefully put by JJ Redick into a lot of that action, and he
Right.
got absolutely torched. Not even including the ones where he was having to recover to the 3-point line and doing so very slow-footed. It made me wonder if maybe there's a nagging injury besides just the finger situation on his hand that's keeping him disengaged. I had a friend actually who doesn't watch much Knicks, and he texted me tonight because it's on ESPN, and he was like, "I thought Towns is like playing MVP level. Why is he playing like ass tonight?" And it made me really realize that this was probably the most disengaged I've seen him hit on both sides of the ball, because we've always seen him step up to a task when he's playing into Jokic or an Embiid, or even a Miles Turner. This was a surprise that Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes are 2 guys that he could have gotten an easy 40-20 piece on, and he didn't. He deferred. He wasn't even taking shots, and it took actually a long time for him to get his first field goal. He really was just looking to defer. And it didn't work. I think some of his playmaking too on at the high post was a little. It wasn't on target as it usually was, and I
Yeah.
think it led to at least 2 turnovers there in the first half. So just overall, didn't have the energy I think that we needed from him, because he was a guy that had the advantage on the offensive end, and he didn't tap into it, which made things harder on Brunson. Brunson saw a lot of blitzing. He saw a lot of doubles, and he was forced into really difficult shots. And I thought he had a fairly mediocre game as well. The only one that really to me was impressive in the starting lineup was Josh Hart, who did absolutely everything and really solidified my argument on why he should be an all-star. But JJ Redick is a very smart coach, and it really brought another thing up that I wish, Tom Thibodeau, man, overall, I've been very positive on him, and he's really there was some adjustment today that I want to talk about later that he made that really surprised me. He made me happy too in the first quarter actually. But JJ Redick was running a lot of action for Reeves and Dalton Netsch, like off-ball screens,
Mm-hmm.
stagger screens for them to get open on the perimeter. Dorian Finney-Smith is not that kind of movement shooter, so he's more standstill, get in the corner and stay there. But those 2 guys, they tire you out having to chase them all over the floor. And he was really utilizing that to put guys under, whether it's an undersized guy like Josh Hart or someone who doesn't have a lateral mobility like Precious, to really take advantage of that and get those guys going. And really, those were the bat-breaking shots. LeBron James was the engine, but those are the ones that really broke the Knicks' spirit, I thought, when Dalton Netsch and Austin Reeves were hitting. Why can't Tibbs do that for Landry Shamet? We got a couple of guys here right now that really, unless they come in the game hot like Payne, they have a lot of trouble generating their own offense. One of the reasons why I've advocated for Josh Hart to be off the bench because he can help with that. But I need Tibbs to run a few plays here and there to get guys in the spots on the court where they're in their most profitable and actually get them the ball in those sets. And we're not seeing that. These guys are left to their own devices. And if Brunson's not in playmaking mode, they don't even see the shot.
Yeah, it's a few things going on, and I'll get to the Landry Shamet thing a little bit later since you mentioned them. But one is like they really scouted the hell out the Karl Anthony Towns. They really like
That's
forget
JJ.
like not even the playmaking, right? Because it's few things that Karl Anthony Towns is good at. He's good at shooting that above the break three. He hardly got the ball above the break. He only took 1 3 above the break today. The playmaking has usually been his strength. I don't know. It seemed like they was able to kind of litigate that maybe by sagging off players who weren't hitting shots. Maybe that helped. But three, that line drive after he pump fakes on three. I don't know if teams have caught on, but I've definitely noticed here. Like once he starts to drive, like he kind of gets a little bit of a tunnel vision, and it can like you can easily help and get a block once Carl Town starts to drive. And it seems like every time he drove, we was in trouble because it was either an offensive foul or a block. So it's like they took away pretty much everything good offensively he does. They took it away. It was nuts. It was kind of nuts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I give JJ Redick credit. He's gotten that team from a play-in team to fifth in the West for a reason. He's really put an emphasis on defense, and he's really made some acute adjustments throughout the roster to make guys earn their spots. Most importantly, Max Christie, who I thought was the X factor for them tonight, both on ball defense and him as a 3-point shooter. He killed us. We didn't have an answer for him when Josh Hart had to switch on to LeBron James. Once OG went down, we had no answer, no one to even put on. Even Deuce McBride got cut. So again, he's running plays that put his guys in the best positions possible to get open, easy shots, to get them going in rhythm and allow LeBron James just to be the engine. And we don't have that opportunity when either Karl Anthony Towns is apathetic and OG Anunoby is injured.
Yeah. And you talked about Shamet before too. Shamet, you're right. Like we still haven't really maximized Shamet shooting. He took like 1 shot. Like Shamet is a movement shooter. It would be nice to move him off a lot of screens and try to see if we can get him going that way. And even if, you know, even his movement should open up something else for somebody else because that's what happens when you have a guy who can shoot off movement. Like it usually can open up a drive or something for somebody else. But he only had like 1 shot to me, I think I saw, and it was like an air ball in the second half. And on top of that, it's just been getting harder and harder to play him longer minutes too against these really tall teams because they straight up just picked on him for like the first half. Like OG would guard LeBron, and then I guess the Knicks were switching everything. There would be like 1 screen, then Shamet's on LeBron, and then LeBron pretty much scored. I feel like 20 points just picking on Shamet. So, and then it got to a point where it's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna put Shamet on Rudy Hachimura. Then it's like Rudy's like, oh, it's my turn. It's like I'm gonna back Shamet down and score on him. It's like, man, like I've really been an advocate for getting Shamet more minutes to give the starters a rest. But like when the team is this tall, it gets harder to play that short lineup with Campaign, McBride, and Shamet, which is probably why Tibbs has been hesitant to play those 3. But it's like it's kind of been a catch-22. It's like we don't play those 3, we don't play Shamet, we tire our guys out. If we do play Shamet, they get kind of picked on defense, guarding these longer wings.
Well, that supports the argument that I'm making that between the difference between Tibbs and JJ Redick. JJ Redick is running specific plays, not as the bailout option, but as the first option in certain cases because of how good of a playmaker LeBron is for guys like Christie, for Dave Vincent, for Dalton Nett, for Austin Reeves. Tibbs is not doing that. So these guys you just named, Campaign, Shamit, Deuce, they're all having to get their own offense through themselves, self-generated, unless they get, a cool backdoor cut pass at one-handed by Karl-Anthony Towns or a
Mhm.
Mikal Bridges ball rotation, boom, boom, boom to the corner. But overall, these guys are not getting plays ran for them. So again, if they don't come into the game hot, they're not able to generate that heat check with the plays that are being ran by the coach. Again, they're just there as a bailout option or a decoy in the corner. And that's keeping our offense, I think, from fully unlocking. And it's why our bench has been consistently bottom of the league in production overall this season.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you a little bit there. Although, like, I'm not gonna lie, I do have a little bit of hope from Deuce. I saw a little bit of shot creation from Deuce the other game, and I was kind of hoping that was gonna be something to trend upward. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like Goose's game today. He's probably one of the few people whose game I did like, played defense. Um, he Deuce won a tip against a taller player, then got an offensive rebound off of a free throw. I don't know if I was the coach and I saw Deuce getting an offensive rebound off of a free throw, I would be pissed. And he was what 3-7 for 3, 4 of 9. Like there wasn't a lot to cheer about today, but if there was a few Knicks I would highlight who had pretty good games, for sure, MVP of the night would be Josh Hart with his triple double, 26 points, 11 assists, 13 rebounds, for Josh Hart for sure. Then of course Deuce McBride, I thought he had a pretty good game with 12 points, and then Precious Achiuwa, who was called on, had a double double, 15 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists. Looked smooth, pretty smooth on offense for the most part, except for like maybe the corner three. Those guys to me might have probably had the best games that I've seen given the eye test. And OG Anunoby before he went down was having a pretty decent game
Especially from the perimeter.
for
The,
sure.
the 3-point shot looked good. And I do want to give Tibbs some credit. I liked how early the reserves came in. I think Shamit and Precious came in at the 5:30 mark, which is a minute and 30 seconds more than they did 2 games ago when he brought them in at the earliest I've seen at the 4-minute mark. So I like that level of diversity. I think by the third 3-minute mark, all the bench players, the 9-man rotation, had played the game. And I like that Shamit came in first. But again, you're depending on these guys to come in hot because you're not generating plays that get them hot. So again, Deuce McBride of the 4 is the only one able to generate his own shot, but not in a consistent level. But he's the only one who's able to. So he's the only one we ever see drop an 8 or 18 or 15 or 20.
Yeah,
The other one, it's if they're having an on day, you'll get your 6 points from Shamit, you'll get your 8 points from Campaign. But otherwise, they're having to generate their own opportunities either in transition or as a kick out pass on an offensive rebound. It's simple. Run some plays for them. Brunson's doing the best he can as a playmaker. You have Cat as a playmaker. You have Josh Hart as a playmaker. There's really no excuse to be allowing for a little more diversity and intention on the offensive end with play calling. It's not Tibbs style, but we need someone on the bench that is able to diversify that.
I agree. I agree with all points, man. I agree with all points. We need to diversify how we score outside. I mean, it's like we've been able to kind of lean on our guys, especially Braylon Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, but we need to be able to go somewhere else at certain points. Shoot, even Mikal, man, I was expecting Mikal to kind of step up since once OG went down. It actually was actually Josh Hart, but it is what it is, man. Salute to the chat. I see you guys in the chat. Let me get to the chat real quick. Shout out to David Smith, Nick Yak, Deras, Nemar Sicon. Shout out to Fritz Alessandro, best mod in the game. Nick Yak, Nostalgia Nick, I see you. Mark Bourgeois, JT Reddick, and everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. If you're liking this show, hit that like and subscribe. I know people really it's rough. It's rough talking Knicks after a loss. It's a rough loss in general, but you know what? We were on a 5-game winning streak. We lost one. It's not the end of the world, even though the loss is a little bit tough. The toughest thing about this loss to me is really the injury to OG Anunoby. It's been said that he has a foot sprain. Not exactly sure the timetable, But as Lee said earlier, the Twitter doctors have been on the case, and they feel like he should be out for at least 1 to 2 weeks. Shoot, maybe he should just shit for the rest of the All-Star break. You know what I'm saying?
Actually an advocate for that move. I was going to bring up. I thought it was going to be a hot take. I'm glad you're ingredients. I think it makes more sense. Even if his injury heals within that time, it gives him additional time to rest and just rest the body, rest conditioning because we need him. I need that guy in a glass case before the playoffs start because he gives us the best chance, I think, as a glue of our defense to really win this thing this year.
Right. Dra says Cat shot 1 shot in 12 minutes. I mean, listen, man, JJ Redick did a good job just doubling him. And, you know, Tibbs always says, read the game. And whenever Jalen Brunson or Karl-Anthony Towns are doubled, they don't hesitate to pass the ball. And usually that usually works out in our best favor. It did not work out in our best favor today. But gotta tip your hat off to the Lakers. Had a good game plan, man, because they really shut us down. All right. I don't know if you wanted to mention anything else, or if you see any comments in here that you want to point out. Kind of trying to go through these comments real quick.
Let's see. David Smith. I love the ambition and the engagement, man. I don't always agree with these takes that you're dropping in the chat, but I do agree that guys like Campaign are not being fully utilized by his coach. It was something I saw not just this game, but maybe for the last couple of weeks. Even when we were in our win streak, I still felt like that. I wasn't here on the pod to be able to say this, but I really wanted to see a little bit more play calling because we've seen it from Mikal Bridges. They get hot in these first quarters. Start third quarter, you start seeing some plays being ran for OG. I don't understand why that simple action can't be duplicated for the 4 guys on the bench, especially now that the rotation's been set at 9. It just made sense.
Yeah, and I think the coach is getting antsy with his shooting because Campaign only played 5 minutes today, 5 minutes and 48 seconds, and his shots were kind of erratic. Defense is always going to be there with Campaign. He's always going to try hard. That's the one thing that's keeping him on the floor is the defense. Actually, I think Ebony put a stat in the group chat that said like he's like number 1 in deflections. I think he said, what was it? I forgot what the stats were, like 1 in deflections, 2 in steals on the team.
Oh, yes.
Huh?
Yeah, you're right. Yes. He was first in deflections.
First in deflections, number 2 in steals. I think he's even like high in the blocks category for this team. So defensively, his stats have been great for us. Offensively, he's been up and down. Today it was a little rough on him offensively, but the defense, he's always going to give us something for sure.
Agreed, man. We just need to be able to utilize him right.
Word. I agree. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? You want to get to the picks, bro picks, if there are any?
It's not the end of the world, y'all. Like it's definitely a tough loss. Not having AD makes it even tougher because you're like, oh, there's no reason why we shouldn't win this game. With maybe his argument, he's their best player right now, but they're still a deep team. They're extremely well coached. They really emphasize and are committed on the defensive end. And JJ Redick, man, he's shown himself to be a really good steamer on the play calling side and the what's called the adjustment side. So we had our work cut out to him. LeBron James has historically performed, overachieved, and which is a hell of a thing for him to be able to do in Madison Square Garden. And he put on a show. It was a really great vintage LeBron performance. Doing all this shit at 40 years old is unbelievable. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in terms of durability for a career by a star. And he's a superstar at that and logged so many minutes since he was in AAU. So it's really incredible that we're seeing this. But we'll bounce back, man. We've beaten some really good teams recently. Teams better than the Lakers. So I don't think there's anything to get down about. It's not doom and gloom. No, it's not bring the fire Tibbs stuff back. Let's just wish OG and Anunoby to get back as soon as possible.
Yeah, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it takes some steam out of the matchups that I have coming forward. Like the Celtics game, the Houston game. Like, I really want OG to be there. But it's next man up. Hopefully you see Precious step up. He's been shooting that corner 3. Precious, you gotta keep going with that corner 3. That's gonna help us a lot. We're gonna need that to start to hitting. And hopefully we find a way to overcome and beat this team and beat teams like the Houston Rockets. It's gonna be a tough team to beat with even less depth than we had before, for sure.
Yep.
Felicia said Nets beat the Rockets today. It happens. Hey,
it does.
Definitely does. Low key, the Nets played us tough, so I don't know. Even though we won that game, Nets played us tough. All right, yo. Shoot, any bruh picks, ooh picks?
Ooh, man, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, for or ooh pitch. No, man, nothing's coming to my mind. Uh, yeah, no, I'm good.
I feel like I'm good too. I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any. Just
I got one ooh pick. So something that I go ahead.
no, 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 no. Go ahead, go ahead. Mark talked about a Jimmy Butler bruh pick. That Jimmy Butler's getting bruh picks all week and a half. I feel like that's been that's been done to death.
Yeah, I just had an ooh pit for like the the Shams breaking trade this morning, which was like some bum ass trade involving Mo Bamba, and Patty Mills and PJ Tucker. I was like, this is the worst trade I've seen. And now this I did not deserve a breaking news. This could have been like just like not even posted at all, and none of us would have known the difference. It was like four players who were completely washed, going from the Clippers to Utah Jazz. So yeah, that made me chuckle. But a new pick. My the Detroit Pistons whooped the hell out of the Dallas Mavericks last night
Mm.
uh, in Detroit. And I do want to give a shout out. Three guys who I watched in high school: Cade Cunningham, Marcus Sasser, and Ron Holland, all from the DFW area. Very cool to see the area I was born and raised in to be producing some high level NBA talent and lottery pits at that.
Okay, okay. Nikki asks says bruh pick to the air traffic controller.
Oh man,
I don't even want to get into the political stuff, man.
no, bro, the videos have been insane. I can't believe we even have videos of it. Oh, holy hell.
I don't even watch that stuff. But I don't know. Trump blaming DEI stuff while he like put a hiring freeze on air traffic controllers right before the crash happened and fired people right before the crash happened when they were already complaining about being understaffed and then blaming other people. I don't know.
Trump even mentioning DEI when there's loss of life, when there's like real human beings who were burned and charred in flames and then falling out of the sky, to me is the number one reason why I never voted for him and don't think he should ever be president of the United States. Is he just doesn't have the ability to empathize with other human beings and to be presidential when you need someone to like bring the country together over a tragic loss. He just has snide comments and backhanded statements and sarcasm. It's like, bruh, you're the president of the United States and you're acting like a dipshit right now. Like people are dead. And it's just an incredible way to present yourself.
Yeah, it's rough. But yeah. Sorry guys, sorry to get super political now. I'm not gonna lie, it's been really tough because it's been a crazy week. But bruh picks for sure. All right, yo. All right, yo. Short show. Listen, man. We do have. I'm pretty sure we have Dexter Henry coming up for the Houston game. So be here, be square. We're gonna have Dexter kind of rocking with us. 90% sure, 99% sure he'll be here. So to talk about Knicks Houston. So I can't wait to have him here. Hopefully win that game. Houston is already a tough team. You already know those long, athletic, fast teams that like to switch everything. They give us a lot of problems. Funny enough, the Lakers without Anthony Davis kind of were a team that can switch more and they gave us problems. So like this is kind of a case study for that. So we're gonna be prepared for that plus more versus the Houston Rockets. So we're gonna have to be ready. We're gonna have to be able to kind of take teams off the dribble and shoot threes when they're open. So hopefully we get it together for this Houston game, and hopefully we have a good game to talk about when Dexter Henry gets here. All right.
Yeah, we'll see if Alperin and Gunn plays. He's missed the last two games with a calf strain. I'm curious to see if he plays. It's like they present problems whether he plays or not. If he plays on an offensive end, they're a much more dangerous team, especially in the pick and roll. But without him, again, like the Lakers, they're able to switch everything. And that game against Memphis, boy, they looked unbelievable on the defensive end. Amen Thompson's having a hell of a year. He's going to cause unbelievable havoc. I'm sure they're going to put him on Brunson, and he's going to, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think Amon Thompson can slow down Brunson. I think he's one of the few players in the league that has the length, defensive IQ, the coaching behind him, and all the physical tools to give him hell. That's going to be one. I mean, it's like having an OG on you. Amen Thompson's that good. So we'll see how we're able to take advantage. I hope Tibbs has some good schemes. I hope he uses the bench, a 9-man rotation that all these guys hit double digits of minutes. And I hope he ran some damn plays for Shamet, man. We don't need those threes.
I agree. More threes for Shamet. Let's get it.
More threes for Cat. More threes for everybody.
More threes, damn it. Three, you get a three. More threes, damn it. We need more threes.
We do need more threes.
We need more threes, man. Shoot. But I mean, shoot. Lakers did a good job, man, just running him off 3-point line. They really did.
Yep.
Soft loss, but we'll get over it. We still third in the East. OG will be back. Let's get it. Next game, next man up. Let's go, Precious. All right. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys who watched and commented, even though it's a loss. Because, sometimes when people lose, when we lose, guys are like, oh. But you guys who rock with us, y'all the real maniacs. Y'all the real Knicks fans. Y'all the real KOT fans. So I appreciate you guys for the support. All right. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We're out of here. Peace.
New York, big city of dreams.